What up, Tile friends? Good to see you. Happy Monday. I hope it was a good one for you. I hope you're getting a good start to your week. We've got another Monday motivation for you, and I'm talking about overwhelm. You know, business owners feel overwhelmed at times. It's just a fact of being a small business owner because you wear so many hats. And hey, the world's not helping any either. People are trying to trigger you online. People are doing all kinds of crazy things. There's all kinds of crazy conversations, and we're more connected than ever. It's easy to get overwhelmed because you're looking at more people's lives. But before we get to it, I do want to thank our sponsor, the Phenomenal Profits Conference. I'll be attending that this October, the 19th through the 21st. It's in Houston, Texas. And if you want to attend with me, I'll tell you a few reasons why you should. The Phenomenal Profits Conference is brought to you by a man named Howard Partridge. Howard Partridge is somebody who's very well known in the entrepreneurship, small business world. He's helped hundreds, if not thousands, of small businesses to develop systems, and his main goal is to help you create a turnkey business in order to help hopefully sell it one day. And like a wise, wealthy man said once, create a business that is sellable and then keep it. And so that's something that's rare in the blue collar construction, especially the tile world. But he's keen on helping you create and implement systems to create that turnkey business. So it's 3 days, and the focus is on profits or money. Every quarter he has a different theme for his members. It's an invite only type situation. But because I'm working with Howard now, he's invited myself and my wife there, and he's extended the invitation to the TileMoney audience. So check it out if you want to learn your numbers, if you want to learn about if you want to learn about systems, and you want to learn how to implement them in your business, and you want to take a tour of Howard's multi-million-dollar operation there in Houston. It's going to be a really good, educational, fun time. Check it out. All right, let's get to today's topic of overwhelm. I've got 5 points for you today to help you reduce your overwhelm and help, you gain control of, your emotions, really, because when we're overwhelmed, our emotions are high, and that's not good for business. That's not good for decisions. So my first tip for this is to learn how to breathe with intention. What do I mean by this real quick? I've talked about it multiple times throughout the podcast. You've seen me do some breath work on the podcast itself. We're going to try to get through this quick today, so I'm not going to show you any breath work techniques. I'll talk about a couple, but breathing is something that I'm passionate about. Intentional breath work is something I'm passionate about because of the impact it's had on my life. A couple years ago, I was experiencing something, so intense that I've never brought myself to talk about it in front of you, if you can believe that. But I was experiencing something so intense, and breath work was the one thing that kind of brought me back to reality and allowed me to, experience this intense part of my life, and it gave me the ability to move forward with thought, with really grounded thought, instead of drastic, radical thoughts that, emotions, oftentimes, overtake my thinking and a lot of people's thinking. You might not believe me, you might not believe me that breathing can really change, intentional breathing or breath work can really change your emotional state. But let's just think about it with music. What happens if you listen to a Metallica song? Go ahead, do it. Pause this, listen to a Metallica song. One song. Don't get up, don't dance. Just sit. And just listen to that song, and then stop it. Maybe you don't even have to get through to realize that you're breathing heavy because you're excited. Now calm down, and listen to a Bob Marley song. Now you're going to realize that you're breathing a lot slower. Maybe you're starting to get sleepy. Put on a sedative song, and pay attention to your breath work. Well, what does that have to do with breath work, Luke? Duh. Everybody knows music has an impact on you. All right, well, if music and even just reading something, you might be scrolling on Facebook. What happens when you come to something that triggers you? You get excited, but you don't know it, but you're breathing quicker. You know, what happens when you see a serene picture of a beach? You know, you don't know it, but you're breathing slower. So you can reverse the feelings by intentionally breathing. See, if you're feeling excited or mad or maybe frightened, you know, you're not in a good place when you're excited, mad, or frightened to make good judgment at work, you know, as a business leader, business owner, or, you know, in your personal life even. But you can reverse those feelings of excitement or anger or being frightened or whatever it might be. You can reverse those feelings with breath work, because you're reversing what happens. So if you find yourself getting big mad tomorrow or maybe later tonight, try it. You know, just take a minute. And with intentional breathing, what that looks like is 4 seconds in, 4 seconds out, 4 seconds in. If you want to calm down, you're excited, 4 seconds in, 8 seconds out, 4 seconds in, 8 seconds out. And you can look up the lion's breath. That's where you empty your chest. You empty that, you know, kind of like dead oxygen in the bottom of your lungs there. And it really, really works. Thousands, millions of people know it. And if you don't know it, now you do. And it's up to you to do something about it. All right, the number 2 thing you can do to lower your overwhelm is to write everything down that you're currently holding in your mind. As business owners, we wear a lot of hats. That's where a lot of overwhelm comes from. We have a lot to accomplish every day. We have a lot to accomplish every week, every month, every year. And it's all pretty much living up here until you write it down. And so the way I do this is I use notes, like sticky notes. And I write everything down that I can, and I spread it all out on the table, like Sunday night. Then I pick the number 1 most important thing, and I turn it upside down. Then number 2, 3, 4. At the end, I have a stack of sticky notes, and the only thing I'm looking at is the number 1 thing that's the most important thing for me to do. Monday evening comes, I spread them all out again. You know, did I get as much as I thought I was going to get done on Monday? If not, I know what I got to do first thing Tuesday morning, or maybe I have to work an extra hour. You know, your brain can only handle so much, and multitasking's a lie. You think you're a good multitasker, you're not. You know, you'd be better working on one project at a time. So, and to illustrate this, all I have to do is, hopefully you're, you are good at, and I went into step 3 without telling you I'm into step 3. I apologize. We're into step 3. Identify your next action and what's the most important thing for you to work on first. I told you how I do it. You create a system that works for you. Maybe that system works for you. But when we prioritize what we're going to do, then we're going to start really picking up speed. And again, the best way for me to illustrate this to you is, most people are probably tile installers listening to this. If you're not efficient, you know, let me tell you how tilers get really efficient and really quick with their work. And if you are efficient, this will sound familiar. The night before, you know, and because you're doing it for 5, 10, 15, 20 years, you can hold a series of things in your mind, you know, typically 7, but because of our repetitious work, we might be able to hold more. You have created a list in your mind, or sometimes on paper, but of what your day's tasks are. And then you go to work one thing at a time. And because you know the very next thing, you don't skip a beat. You know the third thing, you know the fourth thing. And before you know it, it's 10 a.m. and you got more done than you used to in a day. That's how you become efficient, is to work on one thing at a time. What the new tile contractor or the new business owner does is they try to do a little bit of this, and then they do this, and then they see a squirrel and they're distracted. That's no way to work, you know? So as you're a business owner, you have so many different hats that, you know, get them on paper, and then do one thing at a time. The fourth thing is to get your body moving. Get your body moving. You know, get up, bounce around, you know, sing and dance, or go on a walk. Because oftentimes this happens, you know, now that I'm an office worker, podcaster, this happens to me, to where all of a sudden I'm feeling overwhelmed. And maybe for you, since you're on the job, what this may look like is, and it happens to me as well. What this may look like is you get home, you're trying to relax, and then all of a sudden you start remembering all the things that you forgot to do because you didn't write them down, you didn't have your checklist, and now you get overwhelmed. Can you do anything that evening? Get up, first of all, get your body moving. Why do you want to get your body moving? Because action begets action. So if you can just get yourself moving for 10 minutes, 15 minutes, maybe a quick pump out workout, maybe you got to go on that quick walk or that quick run, and then see how much you can get done in the next 60 minutes. And then you can go on to, either the walk or the run will clear your head. And maybe what you really need to do is just make a list for yourself for tomorrow so that, then you can rest easy. Don't let that overwhelm steal your joy for the whole evening or the whole weekend. You guys have all experienced this. I've experienced it, and so have you. And then the fifth thing that I want you to understand is realize that you cannot get your entire list done at once. That's why I stack it up. And I look at it every day because I understand that sometimes my priorities change. By the end of the day, I thought I had something down on the 12th item. Well, I got to move it up to number 1 or number 3 for the next day, So realize and understand that you can only do one thing at a time. This isn't a shotgun approach. It's more of a hunting rifle. You want to be very accurate with your task at hand. That way you can generate speed. That way you can lower your stress. You can lower your overwhelm. If you're spreading yourself so thin, you're going to be overwhelmed, but put all your energy into the one thing before moving on to the next thing, and you're saying right now, Luke, I got a lot going on. I got more than you know. I understand. I know, write it down and in order to clean up your brain, breathe a little, focus on one thing at a time. Become aware of why you're overwhelmed. Get really good at single tasking. So again, breathe with intention. Write down everything you're currently holding in your mind. Identify your next step, your next action step, and what's the most important thing and why, and then you go to work at it. 4, physically get your body moving if you start to feel overwhelmed when you're not moving. And then 5, realize that you can only do one thing at a time. You can't get the entire list done at one time. I hope you enjoyed this Monday motivation, tile friends. Remember, if you need a website, go to happytileguy.com. And that's it for today. We'll talk to you tomorrow, and we'll see. We got the full podcast tomorrow. Tomorrow's with Drake Van Hull. Drake Van Hull is a financial professional. He is going to be a regular appearance on the TileMoney podcast. And tomorrow's the introduction. He's helping you understand your numbers for the mid-year gut check. It's August 29th. We're almost creeping up here on the fourth quarter. How's everything looking? How are your numbers? Do you know, or do you want to know? Go check it out tomorrow, the full podcast episode. All right, tile friends, we'll talk at you later. Have a good evening.